Hello. So I thought I'd make a short non-car video today. I'm in the office, talking about something that I think I have not really discussed that much on this channel, which is surprising because it deals with Coué and his autosuggestion formula and his recommendations. And that is the whole idea of utilizing the phrase or a phrase like it passes. It passes. If you're familiar with Coué's advice, you know that Coué often said as you go through the day, if something is bothering you, what you can do is if it's like a physical ailment, you can rub the part of the body, like let's say your shoulder hurts, for instance. You can rub the part of the body that hurts and say something like, "It passes, it passes, it passes, or it's passing, 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 it's passing." Something along those lines, something indicating that the pain is passing. And this was a really effective method of relieving pain. He also said if it was like a mental worry, you could like rub your head and be like, it's passing, 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 it's passing. Doing something like this for a brief period of time, for like 30 seconds, a minute, maybe 2 minutes maximum, should relieve a significant portion of the stress or pain associated with what's going on. Coué really advocated doing this. And it's something I wanted to mention today because I don't talk about it that much, and it certainly works well. If you do it, you'll see it does something for sure. And I wanted to mention it because the next part of the SP and self concept course, which is tomorrow. If you're watching this video when it's put up, we're going to be talking about taking the charge out of difficult feelings, and this relates to that. If you want to join us for the second part of this SP and self concept course, you can email me at info@radicalcounselor.com. You'll get a video recording of the first session we did. But this idea of saying it passes, it passes, it passes, it passes, like when you have a mental worry, is so direct. It's actually very similar to like a lot of the stuff I talk about in the joy of not thinking about, like vigorously moving. Because when you do something so vigorous or like speak out loud really quickly and forcefully, it changes how you're thinking about a subject, including how you're thinking about pain, like in your shoulder, or about a certain issue that's worrying you. And it also relates to these really difficult feelings we might have that we often talk about, working with the feeling, really feeling the feeling, like going into the feeling, the way that David Hawkins talks about so eloquently in books like Letting Go, or how Claire Weeks talks about floating through difficult feelings by letting them be there and letting them pass, right? Another approach that's very effective, especially if we are aware of this feeling bothering us coming up, is to nip it in the bud by using one of these Coué methods. So if we have a feeling of like anxiety or stress that we don't like, we don't necessarily just have to rub our head and say it passes, it passes, it passes. We could also go right to where that anxious or stressful feeling is in the body, for instance, like in our chest area. If we notice it, if we notice we have a series of thoughts that quickly trigger this stressful feeling, we can right away, if we can find the space to do it, go to our body, put our hand where we feel this stress, and we can go, it passes, 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 passes. Doing this, gabbling it, as Coué likes to say, saying it really quickly, changes our line of thought directly. It makes it so that anxious feeling is then unable to build. What usually happens when we have really anxious feelings that charge us and make us uncomfortable, is the feeling overwhelms us. And then the feeling becomes so present that we play into it, and we have thousands of other thoughts that correspond to this negative feeling. But if you utilize this approach that Coué talks about, where you just, you start to feel the feeling and you're like, I'm not going to let this be here. It passes, it passes, it passes, it passes, it passes, it passes, it passes. And you say it quickly so there's no room for other thoughts to get in there. It's passing, it's passing, it's passing, it's passing. There's a good chance you're going to be able to neutralize some of that significant stress that the feeling is giving you. It's going to maybe pass or go away entirely just by utilizing that method. Now, this doesn't always work. It can be difficult to be self-aware enough to use this, especially when you're around other people and you just, start rubbing your chest or what have you. But it's a great tool. And again, it's very similar to the stuff we talked about in Joy of Not Thinking, about moving your body to directly affect how you're thinking and feeling. Coué was a master at explaining how this kind of stuff worked. The mind-body connection in terms of both physical pain and stress and mental pain and stress. So, yeah, it's a very helpful tool. It passes. And the last video we were talking about Charles Baudouin's book, suggestion and autosuggestion, and that sober assessment of how suggestion works, about how we auto-suggest things to ourselves and how we can suggest better things to ourselves to feel better. A lot of that advice we're going to find works more effectively if we're utilizing tools throughout the day. Whenever we find ourselves getting off track, a tool like It Passes or something to quickly snap us out of our mental doldrums that can start to build momentum relatively quickly. This is a form of mental dieting, basically. You're building positive momentum by asserting something like every day in every way I'm getting better and better. And doing that before bed and when you wake up, and perhaps at other contemplative times during the day. Some kind of general positive phrase of improvement like that. And then when negative stuff starts to get to you and seemingly could overwhelm you, you're utilizing things like it passes, it passes, it passes, it's passing, it's passing, it's passing, it's passing, it's passing, to kind of neutralize it and just continue that upward momentum of getting better and better and better and better. It's not just a magical thing you do for a couple minutes in the morning and at night. It's something that, Baudouin really, again, articulates this well in his book. It's something you're doing throughout the day to heal, to feel more whole. And it works well with all these other, healing and stress management modalities that we always discuss. So I thought that was worth mentioning, because I do not talk about It Passes perhaps as much as I should on this channel. And it's another one of Coué's wonderful tools that he shares with us. And next time that, you're hurt or something a part of your body hurts, try it. And you'll probably see it has an effect. So I hope that was helpful. I can be reached at info@radicalcounselor.com.